Hey, Jensen.
Hi, Steve.
Good evening, Jim. How are you? How are you, Jim?
Good, Steve. How are you?
Doing all right? Yeah.
Good.
Everything good?
Everything's good. Yeah, I had another little operation on last week ago, Wednesday. So I think we're working pretty good.
Good, good. I think Mary sent you an email tonight about a meeting.
Yes,
for-
and so we'll set it up as soon as I talk to Mary and Manny. We'll set it up for the 20, whatever she said, the 22nd.
Okay, sounds good. Jensen, I think Amanda Campbell, did she mention she wasn't gonna be here tonight?
No,
Okay, yeah, so she will not be here. I think she has a work conflict.
okay.
Um, So,
I don't think that there was anything specific that she was going to report on anyway.
no, just so you're not thrown off when they do the roll call or anything like that.
Perfect.
Hello, how are you? Are
Hi,
you from Horace Mann?
yes,
Oh, great. Okay, well, we can't wait to have you present to us, okay? Just hang tight there. Hello, how are you?
hi,
All right, what's your name?
Miles.
Miles, nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Zreich. Happy to have you here. I'm guessing you're from Horace Mann, right?
Yeah,
Okay, great. Well, we're gonna get started in a little bit, so you can just hang out and relax until we get to your part, right? We'll introduce you. I think Miss Phelps will be with us.
okay.
Okay. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. Hi, Miss Phelps. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for joining us tonight. Really appreciate it. I got a couple friends here already, looks like.
Hi, Miles. Hi, Tammy. Thanks so much for inviting us, Dr. Zreich.
Oh, I got my copy right here. Yeah, we'll be, there's some opening things that have to be done. There's public comment, and then you'll be the first to go
Perfect.
after
Sounds
that,
great.
once we get started. So thank you.
Hi, everyone.
Kristen,
Hello?
Solana, you can put yourself on mute for now, okay?
Okay.
Hi, Salma. You can put yourself on mute for now, okay?
Hey, Kate. You can put yourself on mute.
Hi, everyone.
Kate,
Hey, good evening, folks. I'm just waiting to hear back from the mayor just to see if she's transitioning and will be joining us momentarily. But we'll get started in a couple minutes if she's unable to join us. Okay, so with that, I'm going to call the meeting to order at 7:02 p.m. And I'll kick us off by asking School Committee Secretary Ms. Frost to call the roll for attendance.
Sure. Ms. Campbell? Not present this evening. Ms. Cornell?
Present.
Mr. Cruz?
Present.
Mr. Fleming?
present,
Ms. Manning?
Present.
Dr. Pangallo?
Present.
And Mayor Driscoll? Not present currently.
5 members.
Hey, everyone.
Mayor Driscoll has joined us.
Mayor Driscoll present.
We just did attendance, Mayor Driscoll. You're right in time.
Perfect. Sorry to be a little bit late. Just couldn't find my log on. So if we've taken attendance, are we at the approval of the agenda or are we doing public comment? Just checking in, Manny.
Approval of the agenda.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion to approve this evening's agenda. Motion made by Mr. Fleming. Is there a second?
Second,
Seconded by Mr. Cruz. All those in favor, Ms. Manning,
Yes.
Mr. Fleming,
Yes,
Dr. Pangallo,
Yes.
Ms. Cornell, yes, Mr. Cruz,
yes.
Ms. Campbell, who is not here today, correct?
no,
And then Mayor Driscoll, yes. 6 members voting, 6 in the affirmative, the matter carries. Approval of the consent agenda, I'd entertain a motion at this time. Motion made by Mr. Fleming. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Pangallo. All those in favor of approval of the consent agenda, Ms. Manning,
Yes.
Mr. Fleming,
yes,
Dr. Pangallo,
Yes.
Ms. Cornell,
Yes.
Mr. Cruz,
Yes.
and Ms. Campbell? Nope, who's not here? Mayor Driscoll, yes. 6 members voting, 6 in the affirmative. The ayes have it. Next up on our agenda is public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to offer comment. And I would turn it over to our school committee secretary to let us know if we've got anybody who's registered.
We do, Ann Berman would like to speak, so we're going to promote her to talk.
Great.
Hi, everybody. Am I on?
Hi, Ann, we can hear you. Go right ahead.
Great, thank you. Good evening, Mayor Driscoll, Superintendent Zreich, and members of the school committee. On Monday, January 24th, Dr. Zreich and I had the pleasure of delivering gift certificates from Andrew Michael Salon and Spa to our Salem Public School nursing staff. The salon generously donated some of those gift certificates on hearing who they were for. Our nurses have been working enormously hard through this entire pandemic, taking care of our students and our staff, and we hope that this will give them just a little bit of time to take care of themselves. They certainly deserve it. On Monday, January 31st, Mrs. Napier-Kowski and I proctored the AFL-CIO scholarship exam at Salem High School. This exam was open to any Salem Public School senior, We had 17 students sit for the exam. These students will now compete for scholarships from the AFL-CIO and AFT Massachusetts. The top 4 scorers will earn a scholarship from this. This is which in events, and I know it's difficult because I made
And we're having a little trouble hearing you. You're just cutting out a little bit. Let's give Ann another few seconds to see if we can get her back on. And if not, we can move ahead in public comment until we can get her internet connection restored. Okay, so is there any other public comment while we try and figure out if Ann can log back on?
There is not.
Bless you, Jim.
Her
thank you.
name, her name just came back up, so I'm going to allow her to talk
Try
again.
again. Okay, beautiful.
Thank you. My internet will be tight.
We can hear you,
So I
Ann. It
was
was a
just
little
saying-
unstable before. We lost you just about when you were talking about proctoring the students for the AFT scholarship opportunity.
Something
And unfortunately, it doesn't sound like it's getting any better.
Is this better?
Yes, much
Okay, I
better.
don't know. I'm walking around my house here.
Yeah.
So we were just making an appeal to any Salem businesses or any vendors who have something they could donate that we could use for our raffle. Last year, we did raise over $2,000, which paid for half of the scholarships. So for the community out there, if it has anything to offer, we would really appreciate it. And I'm not trusting my internet, so I am going to sign off. Thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thanks, Ann. Appreciate it. Seeing no other public comment, we can move right ahead to our student showcase. And it looks like we've got a group of students from Horace Mann Lab School. We're so grateful to have you here. Dr. Strike, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this showcase. I've got my handy copy here of the Husky Herald, and I want to learn all about the behind the scenes of the Husky Herald. So I'm going to turn it over to Miss Principal Grant and Miss Phelps, who I think are going to introduce some guests that we have here tonight. So the show is yours, Horace Mann.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Scarlett Grant, the interim principal at the Horace Laboratory School. You probably already know that Horace Mann has truly amazing teachers and staff, and would do anything for our students and families. There are so many good things that we're doing at Horace Mann, and tonight I want to highlight just one of them, and a really exciting opportunity for students after school, led by grade 3 teacher Jordan Phelps. We have Miss Phelps and a few student representatives here with us this evening to share what Dr. Strike was holding up, a school newspaper that is brand new to the school this year. They have been working on it for months and will continue to work on it for the next few months or so. So I'll turn that over to Ms. Phelps.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Grant. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen just so you know if you have any trouble seeing it. Right. So as Mrs. Grant said, my name is Jordan Phelps, and I am a grade 3 teacher at Horace Mann, as well as the leader of our school newspaper. So I wanted to start by just sharing what some of my goals were when I decided to start the school newspaper this year. My primary goals include providing an opportunity for students to express their ideas, opinions, and creativity, building students' confidence, a sense of agency, and a positive attitude about writing, building teamwork and a sense of unity at HMLS, and allowing students in various grade levels and from various backgrounds to work together. And after writing for my school newspaper in high school, I wanted to share a passion of my own with my students. Here is an image of some of our student reporters. The Husky Herald staff consists of about 50 students from 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. So I sent out an open invitation to all 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders at Horace Mann, and we had about 40 join us in working on the first edition. And after publishing that, we had so much excitement and interest that about 10 more students have joined us. And I decided to actually split that group into 2. So for the second edition, we're working in 2 sessions just to have a bit more manageable group and more productive work time together. Tonight I have 5 student journalists joining me. From 5th grade, I have Tammy. From 4th grade, I have Miles and Salma. And from 3rd grade, I have Solana and Christian. And as you can see, they have their press passes ready, and they are so excited to share some of their thoughts with you. These are the 4 questions that I asked them to consider tonight. Why are you proud to be a Husky Herald reporter? What have you learned by writing for the school newspaper that you didn't know before? What was your favorite piece from the first edition that was not yours, and why? And what are your goals for the future of the Husky Herald? So I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I will start with my 3rd graders, and we will work our way up. So Christian, you are up first. Go ahead and turn on your microphone and share some of your thoughts with us.
I am proud to be a Husky Herald reporter because I can inform the school of what's happening in the school and around the world. Something I have learned during our meeting is that I can work with somebody to improve my writing and his or her writing. My favorite piece of the first edition is the comics section because of the creative drawings. My goals of the Husky Herald in the future are to create the best action comic and write more.
Thank you, Christian. Wonderful job. Solana, you are up next. Go ahead and share your thoughts with us now.
Hello. I am proud to be a Husky Herald reporter because I like to share news with the school and learn different things. During our meetings, I have learned that when you're writing, you need many details. My favorite piece from the first edition was the song Perry Ramsden wrote about because the details told a little bit about the song. My goals for the future of the Husky Herald are I would like to gain some skill to do some of the work on my own.
Thank you, Solana. That is a great goal for the future. Now we will move on to our fourth graders. Miles, you're up next.
I'm proud to be a Husky Herald reporter because after I write a long story, everyone can see my work. I'm also proud to be a reporter because it's fun. During our meetings, I have learned how long it takes to write an article. My favorite piece from the edition was the pet page because I can see my cats on it. My cats' names are Lucy and Louise. My first goal for the future of the Husky Herald is for more people to read it. My second for edition 2 is for me to write an article about Salem soccer.
Thanks, Miles. I can't wait to hear your next article. Salma, please share your thoughts with us now.
I'm proud to be a Husky Herald reporter because I love working with different teachers and students. I learned how much time and effort it takes to write a newspaper. My favorite part was the book review, and I love how nicely it was organized. My goals for the future of the Husky Herald are to find new exciting topics.
Thank you, Salma. Tammy, last but not least, our fifth grade journalist, go ahead and share your thoughts with us.
I'm proud to be a Husky Herald reporter because I like working with other people and I like knowing their thoughts about what they want to write. And during our meetings, I have learned about all the hard work that has to be done before publishing a story on the newspaper. My favorite story from the first edition was the one about Dr. Carmona because I liked how the writers wanted to honor him being here because he was a great principal. And my future goals for the Husky Herald is to inspire students to write more, learn more about the newspaper, and join the newspaper.
Thank you, Tammy. Let's all give our student reporters a round of applause. I am so proud of all of you for sharing your thoughts and being brave. And I also am proud of you for your hard work on the first edition. I'm so excited to see what you create for the second edition, and I really appreciate you joining me tonight. I'm going to take just a few more minutes to share about some of the learning and hard work that's taken place during our meetings. So during our initial meetings for the school newspaper, many of our students actually didn't have much knowledge on what a newspaper is. And so we started by doing a newspaper scavenger hunt to explore the pages and sections. And we also discussed the roles of newspaper staff. So those roles include reporters, editors, and photographers, and students had a chance to decide which role they might be most interested in. We also discussed how to conduct an interview and use quotes from that interview in our stories, as well as how to research and cite sources in a story, and finally, how to edit and prepare our stories for publication. Now I'll take just a few minutes to share some of the pages of our first edition. Here you can see our front page, and that's where we will feature our top news stories for the first edition that was saying goodbye to our principal, Dr. Carmona. We have a few pages in the Husky Herald that share students' opinions, and this is a great opportunity for students to think about their own opinions while also interviewing others who may have the same opinion or a differing opinion and supporting those in their story. For example, why bullying is a problem and how it can be stopped, or the controversial topic of whether fidget toys should be used in classroom, if they're a useful tool or if they are a distraction. Another great section in our newspaper is the comics section, and this is a great opportunity for students who might not be interested in writing to express their ideas in a creative way and still play a very important part in our newspaper staff. And as some of our student reporters mentioned, we also have a review section. So if students have a song, a book, a movie, or a game that they love, they can share that with others and encourage them to check it out as well. I also wanted to point out on our back page that we decided to include a QR code for our readers to scan the code and give them access to each story in Spanish. We wanted all of our community members to have access to the stories, and that's why we included the stories in Spanish as well. So here on the back page, we can see many of our reporters, and I also introduced them and my very, very helpful, trusty teachers who have supported me through this whole process: Sam Lear, Brianna Keating, and Brittany Lavoie. Those were just a few pages of our first edition. So if you are interested in reading the rest, we will have a PDF on our school website, and there are a handful of printed copies remaining at Horace Mann. So please do reach out if you would like one. I also wanted to take just a moment to share some images from our publishing party. So we had a very special celebration in December when we finally received the 250 printed copies of our school newspaper. We invited our teachers, family members, and community members to join us in the celebration. And as you can see, students were very proud of their work and very excited to finally see all of their hard work and learning come to life on the pages of our Husky Herald. Miles, if you would like to wrap up our presentation by presenting the last slide, go ahead.
The Husky Herald staff is hard at work on the second edition. Some topics we will cover include Black History Month, Pride Month, a visiting author that stopped by HMLS. Keep an eye out for the second edition coming in April.
Thank you, Miles. And thank you, Dr. Zreich, Mayor Driscoll, and the school committee for welcoming us tonight. And thank you very much to my student reporters who have worked so hard and continue to work hard every week at our school newspaper meetings. Thanks, everyone.
Well, this was absolutely really fortunate for us to be able to meet all of the reporters: Tammy, Miles, Solana, Christian, Salma. Really grateful for your efforts and for sharing it with us, I think, most assuredly. Are there questions or comments from any members of the committee? We just want to make sure you know how grateful we are. Some of my takeaways were that you learned about how to be more detailed in your writing, the value of editing, telling other students stories, giving them voice, thinking about time management when you're writing, and then how to collaborate with others. Those are just some of the things that I took away from the very comments you made today. But I think it's really exciting to be able to work on something that you're enjoying and also build these skills that we know are so necessary for so many people to learn. So I really want to thank both Principal Grant and Ms. Phelps for all their help bringing this together. The enthusiasm for this is evident by you as well as your students, and I'm really grateful for it. Questions and thoughts from committee members? Ms. Manning.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. It brought back some really good memories to me. I was on the school paper in high school and really enjoyed it, learned a lot and had a great time. So I hope a lot of the students stay connected to this. I just had a very simple question. I'm wondering why it's called the Husky Herald. Is that a name that was associated with Horace Mann already, or is this a new name? And, you know, basically, I think the five of you all did a great job tonight. The six of you. I should say the six of you. The seven of you. Keep the seven of you.
That is a wonderful question. I will say we adopted a new school mascot, the Husky, this year. And I'm wondering if any of my student reporters remember what the word herald means. That's something we discussed in our first few meetings. Does anyone remember what the word herald means?
I saw Christian's hand and I see Solana's hand. Ms. Phelps, do you want to call on your student?
Yes, go ahead, Solana.
Herald means it's someone who runs around town and spreading news to people in the town and sharing like news that just comes to mind to them sometimes.
You
Great
have a
answer.
You have a great memory, Solana. So we talked about how before there was TV, we had to get the news around in the old-fashioned way by foot, and the name of the person who got the news out was the Herald.
We have a lot of those people in town these days. Anything else, Ms. Manning?
A quick follow-up. Was the Husky like a vote, a student vote to get a new mascot, or somebody's Husky? Just curious how they reached the Husky part of that.
Ms. Grant, do you want to take that if you happen to know?
I do, and I was actually thinking about Tammy as our 5th grader, if she wanted to share that. I don't see Tammy anymore.
Did
Is she
Tammy,
still here? Or maybe she logged off.
was she on the other? Is she on the other?
It looks
She's
like
on
she might have
another
been sent off.
story.
Okay.
Yeah, she's reporting another story. So I can share
Right.
that. So the Husky it's a new mascot. Like, we didn't have one before, so we thought it would be a good idea this year to have a new mascot for our school, and our 5th graders got to name the Husky. So the kids all gave their recommendations, and then the 5th graders, being their last year at Horseman, they got to name the Husky.
Great, thank you.
Other comments? Mr. Cruz, did I see your hand up?
That you did, Mayor Driscoll. Thank you. And just a comment, I was an alumni of the Horseman Lab School. So I went to school there and we didn't have a newspaper. So this is a really cool difference 20 years later to see that you all have a newspaper. I believe every school committee member received a copy of the Husky Herald. So I guess if I had a question, it would be, could the student reporters here, if I mail it back to the school, sign my newspaper? Because you're rock stars.
I can most definitely make that happen. We meet every Tuesday afternoon, and I bet they would be very happy to give you their autograph.
Amazing. Thank you.
Great work. Any other questions or comments from school committee members? Seeing none, I guess I just want to express our thanks for all the hard work you're doing and for the Husky Herald. I don't think any of us can wait to read edition number 2. When can we expect to see that? Do you have a timeline?
Yes, we should be wrapping up our work by the end of March, and I hope that it will be in print in early to mid-April.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for coming tonight, guys, and sharing with us why you like what you're doing, what you're gaining from it. And we all enjoy reading it. And we're looking forward to seeing edition number 2 when it comes out later this March. Thanks so much, Principal Grant and Ms. Phelps, for all you're doing, and the other educators that you're working with who are helping support the program. Really enthusiastic response. And I think it's coming mostly from you. So thanks for those extra efforts. Anything else, Dr. Reich?
Oh, thank you, Horseman Husky staff. I just want to say I put these out in front of my office, and this is the most popular thing as people are waiting to meet with me, more popular than any other magazine or publication that we put out there. So I can't wait for the next edition so we can feature it and keep people patient waiting to come in to meet with me, because I look forward to seeing, and I'd love to come visit to see how it's all made, how this all goes down behind the scenes. So thank you. And it's not easy to present to the school committee like all of you did tonight. You were super confident, super clear. It's clear you have future in PR, media. You're on the right track. And so I can't wait to look you up in a few years to see what you're all doing. So thank you, though. And thank you to Ms. Phelps, because I know this is a tremendous amount of work, and we really appreciate it.
Salem News, you better watch out. You got competition in town. Well, we'll let you guys off. You're more than welcome to stay, but you're also free to go given the hour and the fact that we got a bunch of other agenda items.
Thank you so much for inviting us to join you tonight.
Thank you, Ms. Phelps. See you soon. Dr. Reich, I will turn it back over to you for the superintendent's report.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everybody. We're going to jump right to, since we have some guests related to the program of studies at Salem High School, I'm going to jump to that item, if that's okay, Mayor.
Yep.
And have them present, because that is something we're going to be looking for a vote on. As you know, we present annually to the school committee after bringing it to the subcommittee first. And I'm sure Dr. Pangalo may want to say something about it along the way, but we certainly wanted to let Dr. Flores, who's here from Salem High School, and Principal Burns, who's here, share any changes that exist for the program of study. And Kate Carboni is also here, who can also answer questions as well. So I'll turn it over to Dr. Flores. Is that you?
Mr. Burns is going to start us off.
Oh, Mr. Burns. Okay.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
What I'll do is, while he's getting settled, I'll start sharing my screen so that we can follow along with the presentation.
Sure.
All right. I'm sorry. Both my girls are dressed as Elson, Anna, and dancing around. Ran into the office to show me.
Big night in the Burns household. I love
it. Just let it go, Mr. Burns. It's going to keep happening.
This year, I'm excited in my first year to get to present in a really positive fashion around our program of studies. In that, the positive is it really aligns to our redesign plan around credits or credentials for every student. So we really looked to deepen the aspects of their high school experience. And what I mean by that is what you're going to be looking at is an increase in courses that lead to pathways that for advanced coursework and college credits, or for a deepening in their understanding their vocational track and in the hours to receive vocational credentials. So the overview is really early college pathways becoming more robust, utilizing our partnerships with Salem State University to develop a new program, which is our criminal justice program. Also, still continuing with our healthcare program that's currently intact. Also looking to develop an early college partnership with North Shore Community College. And North Shore Community College would be able to offer our students advanced coursework and college credits in the field of computer science, which would build off of our Project Lead the Way computer science courses we currently have at Salem High School. Also looking at our CTE programs, our career technical education programs, and medical assisting, building and property maintenance in early childhood. And why that's so important is, while we'd love to be able to offer all aspects of these courses, we are somewhat limited. And to have these partnerships, it allows us to have more advanced coursework by professionals that understand it. So one of the courses for building property maintenance that we don't currently offer, and we don't have the expertise to offer, is blueprint reading for the trades. And that's something that North Shore Community College would be offering. Also looking at that is for our multilingual learners, looking at a liberal arts track that would provide them some supports and access to advanced coursework in a more general form or liberal arts form. Things that we are also really excited about is just moving forward with our biomedical pathway, which is a Project Lead the Way pathway, and the addition of our becoming a unified champion school. So this year, one of the big items that we've started, one of the big projects that we've started, is our unified sports team. And we started with strength this winter. In the spring, we'll be moving forward with our track and field component, and we're looking to add a physical education class, which would allow us to become a unified champion school. It increases access to athletics, for all of our student body, and that's something that we're really proud of. So that's kind of an overview, and Dr. Flores will get into kind of the fine details of the program of studies in this presentation.
Thank you. All right, so as Mr. Burns said at the beginning, the whole filter through which we interrogate and then curate our program of studies is our redesign plan. There are 5 guaranteed experiences that we have that we are working toward for all students across the 3 campuses. A 4-year personalized graduation plan, high quality social, emotional, and academic learning, credits or credentials, which is what Glenn alluded to earlier, participation in the arts, and participation in at least 1 extracurricular activity. So what we do is through the filter of these guaranteed experiences, we go through each department's portion of the program of study, and also not just each department, each program portion of the program of study to see how their work contributes to progress towards these experiences for our graduates. We begin the process in September, and we start talking with our partners, bringing ideas to the table, asking what they can bring to the table for our students. We then meet as an ILT and get our department leaders together to start this work of going through their course catalog, asking questions of each of the courses that they offer, looking for alignment towards the redesign plan. That happens between November and January. In January, we share it with all of Salem High School staff. We also bring it to our district leadership for feedback. And then between January and February, we bring it to the curriculum subcommittee for feedback. And then finally here to the full committee and to the community at large. So we're giving you a high level overview here of our proposed alignments. Like Glenn said, we are formalizing our course trajectories on existing or new. So criminal justice would be a new strand that we are building out this year. Biomedical is one that is already existing, and we have paired offerings with our CTE medical assisting program. Programming and web is getting built out. We have the starter course for it, which is computer essentials, and then we're adding Project Lead the Way courses along the way. Our business pathway with North Shore Community College, and our healthcare pathway. I want to highlight here that criminal justice strand with Salem State University is actually a sort of dual major, because Salem State is offering it as a criminal justice and Spanish language major also, which is something that we are excited about, because then we can promote both through our world language department, our students who are getting the seal of biliteracy or taking language courses, Spanish specifically, and also through our ML department. Expanding our early college offerings, right? Because we have the high school diploma being the minimum requirement. We want a diploma plus experience for our students. So diploma plus credentials or diploma plus credits. And so we're building out our intro to business and entrepreneurship. We are adding principles of marketing, where students will get Salem High School credit, but they'll also get North Shore Community College credit as well. And then, like I said earlier, our criminal justice strand with Salem State College. And we're starting with our communications and civil engagement course there. We're expanding our advanced coursework offerings. We are adding a math literacy course, which gives students, Salem High School students, gives Salem Public School students a elective credit at North Shore, and then gives them a math credit at Salem High School towards their graduation. And we're expanding our Project Lead the Way offerings because of programming and web. We're adding cybersecurity and computer science principles. Increasing accessibility, like Glenn said, we are becoming a unified champion school. Part of that is having unified sports, having student voice in the leadership and governance of the school, and having unified classes. And so we're unified class in September. We're also making sure that we're increasing accessibility by examining the impact of prerequisites for student success and for access. And we've done that in our math, science, social studies, and fine and performing arts departments. We're updating our student support programming again, to align with our redesigned plan. So last year we sunsetted the Bridge Academy. We are also removing NCAS Math Prep Math Lab, and we're replacing them with intervention courses for math and ELA. So it'll be an Algebra 1 Plus course, a Geometry Plus course, or an ELA Plus course. And what is very specific about these courses is that when students enroll in them, they will be taking those courses with their geometry teacher or with their Algebra 1 teacher or ELA teacher. So there'll be a continuity of learning because the teacher will be using student data to decide what the intervention moves are for them during these blocks. And then finally, we are redesigning our course descriptions to make sure that they align with the redesigned plan, updating our prerequisites. We're expanding our theater offerings. For example, we have a global dance course that we're offering. We're offering a intro to musical theater class. We're redesigning our departmental descriptions. For example, our ESL department is now and will be called the multilingual department. It aligns with a more accessible and inclusive title, and it also is more reflective of the language used in WIDA documents. And we are redesigning our postgraduate planning information through our college and career programming, through our internship programs. And that is all. I'm happy to take any questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, both Glenn and Emily, for your presentation. I saw Ms. Manning's hand up. I just want to make sure we give Dr. Bangalo, who is on the curriculum subcommittee, an opportunity if there's anything additional that she'd like to weigh in on, given that you saw a little bit more of this up close and personal.
Yeah, we had an excellent discussion in the curriculum subcommittee. I think that the program of studies work has been a consistent theme over the past few years, and they're continuing to, really align the high school offerings with the redesign, which is excellent to see. We had discussed things like the prerequisites and things like that in a little more detail, and I don't really have much more on that to add.
Thank you so much. I think I saw Ms. Manning's hand. If there are questions or comments from committee members, and then Mr. Cruz. Mary, you're on mute. If you can just take yourself off.
How unusual. A couple of questions and a comment. The comment is I'm very glad to see that lining up the same math teacher with the math course and the plus, and the other courses also. I think that's a great move. I had two questions. In the aligning, the high level overviews that you talked about, so you had 7 of them, but 4 and 6 aren't there. And I'm just wondering, are those areas that weren't dealt with this year, or, me, I don't want to miss anything. So I'm just wondering what's with the 4 and the 6. And then my other question, and maybe this is similar, when you talked about you're redesigning this and you're redesigning that, are you using the term redesigning in that they're being redesigned in this course of studies booklet, or that you're working on that now, so they didn't make this year's, they'll be in next year's?
So
what's the
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to clarify. Everything that we are working on is for this coming September. So the process is that, when teachers go through their courses or departments go through their courses, all of the recommendations that they make are for this round of the program of studies review, so they can get approved and then go in September.
So,
Does that answer your question?
if you're, for example, redesigning a course description, that's happening now, or that's in the book, the new description?
No, so it's happening now. And if it gets approved by the school committee, then you will see it in the 2022-2023 version of the program of studies.
So I'm confused. What are we voting on this evening? If the work isn't completed, but you're saying we're gonna see it in the book.
No, the
I-
work
I-
is completed. It's linked on the presentation that was shared a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
There's a link that shows department by department, any redesigned course descriptions, any proposed changes. It's on that document.
On that chart, yeah.
Yes.
All right, so you say you're redesigning them now, it's actually done.
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, all right, that's where I'm confused. Okay. And then,
But
sections 4 and 6,
the term redesign is getting like used just because it's part of the redesign plan that was done with the partnership of Miss Barbara Kroc. So that's why you see that terminology throughout the presentation, is because everything is linked right off of that plan.
yeah, I get redesign.
Yeah.
But normally when you say you're redesigning, it means it's happening now.
Yeah.
And what I'm trying to clarify is it already completed and in this book?
Yeah, everything is
All right.
completed. That's in the presentation.
Okay. And areas 4 and 6?
Yeah, I think that might have been just in the slides. They were misnumbered as I look back now, because there aren't any areas of 4 and 6. It was, here are the highlights that we want to present, and just numbered them through.
All right. So everything is there.
Yes,
It's just no, okay. All right.
Anything else, Ms. Manning?
Nope, thanks.
Okay, Mr. Cruz?
Thank you, Mayor Driscoll. Great presentation. Really appreciate the organization of the program of studies. Questions regarding the early college program, and specifically the criminal justice strand. I was wondering if you could add just a little bit more color to understand that the first course that they would take was the communications and community engagement one. But I'm curious about the alignment there with any career exploration opportunities that might exist within the field. And if you could share any insight about like maybe workforce needs that have come up with respect to exploration of this particular strand. I'm just curious to learn a little bit more about some of the opportunities that our students might be interested in pursuing within that strand.
Glenn, do you want to respond to that, or you want to take it?
You can respond and I'll fill in any gaps.
Okay, so in terms of the learning experience for students, we're starting off with the communications and civic engagement course, which is a dual enrollment course. We already have a criminal justice course in our program of studies. That would be the next course that students take. And then from there, we're exploring forensics classes, and we're exploring intro to law and constitutional law for students as well. And then remember, this is also the one that I mentioned earlier that has the double major. And so students have the opportunity of taking Spanish language courses also. In terms of the job exploration piece, one of the opportunities that Glenn and I have discussed, now this is, you're getting this for the first time here because this is at the very genesis of the conversations. But one of the opportunities is building partnerships, like bringing in local law enforcement partnerships to do part of, to open up internship opportunities or to open up guest speaker opportunities for our students. Glenn, did you want to add anything else to that?
No, that was how this this conversation really started was that Salem State University was in the process of creating these course options, and we were looking through our program of studies to look at alignment of courses that were already being offered, and we had a series of courses that fit into this pathway, but there was no pathway in place. So how could we give our students the biggest bang for the buck? Because many of them had this interest and were taking all of these different course options. And we wanted to be able to offer both the law enforcement, at least for kids, also just going down for the study of law and then letting kids make the decision. And because we had many of those courses, this is, and we could partner with Salem State on this. This is the avenue that we decided would be the the best way to leverage what we already had at the high school.
I certainly appreciate the preview there and the succinct summary of kind of like how you got to where you are in terms of this course offering. I think the one thing that I was pleased to hear you say, Mr. Burns, was that in addition to the law enforcement exploration, there was also the law pieces. And I know things are in their infancy. So Dr. Flores, I'm going to temper my expectations. I do hope that there will be some opportunities to explore the other side of the criminal justice related fields with respect to restorative justice, preventative justice, not just the law enforcement elements, but also, you know, public defenders. I mean, we have a litany of folks in the field, and always happy to provide resources, as we do have some really excellent programs that are based not just in Salem, but also in the county that we might want to explore partnerships with respect to career opportunities. And my daughter is excited about this offering. So.
That's great. Thank you for that encouragement, because one of the approaches that we've taken is to ask, like, what might be possible. So specifically with the criminal justice strand, we keep asking ourselves, like, what might be possible if we opened it up as a social justice strand in criminal justice, right? So like there'd be the law enforcement piece, and then there'd be the lawmaker piece or the legislative piece about it. But what if we also explored an opportunity for social justice within the criminal justice strand? So thank you for the encouragement. It's very exciting, very big, very exciting.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all on my part, Mayor Driscoll. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions or comments? I mean, I love the work that you're doing. It dovetails obviously with the high school redesign plan, the efforts to create those opportunities for students relative to career pathway opportunities and early college. It's all the work that's been bubbling up that is coming to fruition, and we're really grateful for the time and energy. It's always easier to talk about it than to do it. So appreciate the work and effort going into the do part of these things. Any other comments or questions? If not, I will turn it back over to Dr. Reich so we can continue the superintendent's report.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I think I just went on mute. Thank you to Mr. Burns and Dr. Flores for your time and for the support of the curriculum subcommittee as well, and Deputy Superintendent Carboni, who was very involved in this planning as well. So I do want to just switch gears for a moment to COVID. We just have 3 quick slides, I promise, on COVID update. Probably our shortest update. It's mostly positive, I think. So I'm going to turn over to Chelsea, who's going to share the first 2, and then I'm going to share the last one.
Hi, all. A little change of speed here, but we are coming back with a quick update on our data and where we stand on some changes that have come through since we last spoke. So this is the kind of slide that you do hope to get to present. You will see that we went through the surge of January, and in particular, those first few days back from break. Some of that is when cases were reported, but it was coming back from the break. We were looking at over 50 cases per day that first week back. So as Ms. Berman said at the opening here, the gratitude that we have for our nurses and team who really worked around the clock to make this possible, but we have also seen it come back down. So we are now at the end of January and into February, still seeing cases. The very beginning of this chart is an average for all of the fall. So the end of the chart does look more like December in the early days after Thanksgiving. And so we are hoping to see this continue to decline as we are seeing trends across the state. This tail is going to take a little bit longer to go away. The pandemic is still with us and Omicron is still with us, but we are seeing numbers that are much more manageable and much more able to be staffed in our buildings. So our staff number is much better as well. We still do have a handful of staff out each week with the virus, but we are back and operating and able to be focusing back on things that are not simply managing through this surge. In part of this work, we have added in a new layer as per the state program. The work that had been done in advance of the surge, we were able to send home the iHealth test kits over the break. That is part of how we found all those cases, and we're able to keep many of those cases, I should say. In this surge, many of these cases were kept out of school altogether because of the testing that we did over the winter break. and because of the work of our family and community to keep students home. And so what we are doing is continuing to layer in that work around our testing. And so we have deployed for the first time this second weekly test. And so as you will see, our instructions are on Sunday for students and staff to take their rapid test at home at night or Monday morning before returning to school. We've then pushed back our weekly pool testing to Tuesday and Wednesday. So you would test on Sunday with the rapid test, get the PCR test on Tuesday or Wednesday. We then get those results about 36 hours later. So we would get the results and reflex them, which means if there is a positive pool, we go from multiple in a pool to one positive test on Thursday and Friday. So this schedule allows us to complete the testing within the week. Of course, we had a snow day on the first week that we were deploying this, but we are completing the testing during the week and adding that second weekly test for everybody who's participating. And we have seen more families opt in as well, which has been great as we've rolled out this additional layer of testing. So we're going from about 2,500 tests a week to about 5,000, which is a great way to be able to just manage and make sure that we're catching any cases. And again, we continue to focus on making sure that those cases are kept out of schools. We do that as best we can, but we also have our continued implementation of layers of mitigation. We have our masks, our ventilation and filtration. We continue to work with our schools and make sure that these pieces are in place, but we temporarily put desks in rows. They're back into collaborative learning structures to prioritize learning. So we are kind of flexing with what is needed. And we are watching our data and tracking and managing the response. We have shifted to utilizing contact tracing as needed at the discretion of our nurses. We continue to notify families if there are cases, and we are able to use that contact tracing and test to stay if needed, but not in every single case, as we are catching many of those cases outside of school and keeping them home. And the goal here is to make sure that positive cases are staying home. So this is actually not a change. We had transitioned to this as we were going, and we just wanted to remind you of it. So this is just an update. More and more of these orange boxes are going home and making sure that everybody has access to testing if needed. And everything else is pretty much the same as last time we were here. I'll hand it back to Dr. Strike.
Thanks. I just want to echo, what Ann Berman said. As you saw on the chart, we were slammed in January, and our nurses, I think, we stretched them as far as any human could be stretched during the period of time. And, the token of the spa treatment is minimal for what the extra time that those they have put in. And we're just grateful. I have, been in other districts. I think we have as outstanding a nursing team as I've ever seen. They just deserve tremendous praise for how they managed what was a stressful time for all, but certainly more for them in the month of January. I do want to just talk about the employee vaccine requirement. Last week, we did send a letter out to our employees that we did not have a record of being vaccinated. And we're following suit with the city's vaccine requirement for employees. And we're expecting that everybody have at least one shot by Friday, March 4th. And then a second shot by April 1st, unless there's a religious or medical exemption. And so we're taking those now. So people are asking for religious or medical exemptions at this time. This applies to all employees, full-time, part-time, and temporary in the Salem Public Schools. And then, employees who do not comply, we will, they could be subject to disciplinary action, and that might be up to and including discharge. We are very appreciative of the collaboration with our union partners who have been working with their membership, and we've been working with individuals, trying to support them to get vaccinated. We recently had a clinic at our schools that we made them aware of. Obviously, there's places in the community that they can get vaccinated as well, working through religious exemptions, medical exemptions. By and large, the majority of our staff is vaccinated. We believe, because we're still cleaning up our records and people are still showing us that they have, we're looking at evidence of their vaccination, but that almost 93% of our staff at this point is vaccinated. We do have also, I should mention, another clinic at Collins this Friday, Chelsea, is that right? And so, we're trying to work with people. We want to be supportive of folks getting their vaccination. And look, we want to be able to get out of wearing masks eventually. We're lagging. right? We want to make sure that includes staff. We are, I would just point out before we take questions that we are in the process of having our family engagement staff. They've been making calls in the last week to families of 12-year-olds and above who are not, we do not have a record of being vaccinated. So we're trying to call families, again, work with them, see if they have any questions, connect them to the health clinic that we have at the high school, which allows us to give vaccines in the school with parental consent for students 12 and above, the Pfizer vaccine. We can do first dose, second dose, and the booster with the support of our partners in the schools, as long as we have consent. So we're trying to, address any questions, any hesitancy, any concerns that families might have, because again, we know that we're going to have a lot more flexibility in reducing and some of the protocols down the road, the more community members that we have vaccinated. So that's where we stand right now. We'll continue to keep you posted on where we stand. Obviously, we're optimistic that we're headed down the future is brighter relative to the virus, but we're certainly not out of the woods yet, and we certainly are not in a position to recommend relaxing any of our protocols quite yet at this point. So I'll stop there, and Chelsea, maybe you want to take off the share and see if folks have any questions.
Any questions or concerns relative to any of the COVID updates from members of the committee? If not, we can keep moving along in the agenda. Just a great deal of thanks to the ops team working on this, all of our school nurses, certainly you, Chelsea, and Dr. Reich, and all of our principals who all have a hand in making sure this ballet dance, this choreography works with regard to getting folks tested, getting folks in and out, and in mostly in school safe as we possibly can. So grateful for all those efforts. And of course, Dr. Pangalo, who I think has got a book in your future following this process. It's still a long journey, but we appreciate the ups and downs of your efforts as we respond to COVID. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. I just one other thing I would say, we have purchased KN95 masks for students and staff, addition beyond what the state provided us. And so students who are in grades 6 and above have access to adult size KN95s at all the offices in our schools. We are still searching for the masks for younger students. We've been shut out in a couple of our attempts, but we're hoping to order masks for the younger faces still. And that we're in the middle of continuing to search for that. If anybody has any leads, Dr. Pingalo has been helpful in giving us some links, but we're striking out on the availability of some of those masks. But we do have plenty of KN95s for our staff and for larger face teenagers, and shouldn't say larger face, but our larger students, our older students, 6 to 12. I got to be careful with what I say. I'm not implying anything about our older students, but so they're available to at least 5 are available to each student and to staff as well in our school. So I think that concludes our COVID update. The last thing, Mayor, I wanted to just point everybody's attention to is my superintendent goals for the current school year. We just obviously had my evaluation at the end of December based on my goals for last year, and I had shared a draft of my goals with the committee during our retreat. Here is a more extensive documentation of what my goals, key actions, and evidence are for the upcoming school year. What I was hoping to do is lay it on the table between now and the next meeting for the committee to review, and then hopefully vote to accept, if you would accept my goals for this school year. If there are questions or revisions that people would like to make, they can certainly raise them between now and the next meeting, so that I get those, so you know what you're evaluating me on for this upcoming year. I focused very much on Our the goal number one, student learning, is around our strategic priorities and the metrics that we've laid out for the district. And I want to be held accountable for moving the needle for kids around those metrics that we've laid out. We reviewed the retreat. So that's the student learning goal. My professional growth goal is to continue to advance equity across the district. So we're beyond the equity statement. We're moving towards, actual enactment of what equity really looks like in the district. And I lay out a couple of key actions that I'd like to accomplish in the upcoming school year around the interruption and transformation of our systemic inequities that currently exist in our schools and that we have been talking about as a committee and as a community. So that's my professional growth. I still have a lot of learning to do in that area. I'm still on the journey as a leader, as many of us are. And so I would appreciate feedback on my leadership in that area. And then finally, I want to build more stronger bridges and collaboration with our community partners around our strategic goals. So hopefully the chance to get out even more than I've been able to with higher ed, business community, with elected officials, with community partners, our after school providers, so that they can feel like they have a stake and are connected. I'd be remiss if I didn't say our families and our staff as well, but I want to make sure that there's more ownership of what we're trying to do across the city of Salem. And that I want to be held accountable for that as hopefully more and more things open up and I'm able to have those discussions beyond just on Zooms with folks in the upcoming year. So those are my three goals for the year. And like I said, I will put them back on the table I will ask for a vote at our February 28th meeting.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Any questions for Drs. Wright regarding any of the items we've covered so far? So we may need some reminders on the information relative to your shared goals. So maybe Ms. Manning and Mr. Cruz is sort of running into both of your tenures relative to vice chair. Perhaps maybe the two of you could just talk through to make sure we've got our dates squared away as school committee members and what sort of feedback we're going to need, if you wouldn't mind, offline. Thank you. I'll keep us moving if there's no other questions. Okay.
Mayor, just one other thing. Can I just say one more thing on my report is I just did some exciting news. Just this last week, I had asked I'm trying to launch a middle school advisory group to the superintendent based on, trying to get more students. One of our priorities as a district is empowering student voice. And just from Collins alone, and I want to thank Mr. Condon, who I see in the screen here in his some sort of shark sweatshirt like he always is. We were able to get close to 50 students who said they wanted to be part of the advisory group. We only really had room for 7, I think, put Mr. Condon, right? But I do want to thank the push that his team made. And it just shows how invested our young people are in wanting to have a voice in what we do as a school system. It's really, it's pretty remarkable. It's gonna be hard to make decisions about who gets selected. And then Saltonstall, still, we're waiting to get their names back because it is across the middle schools. But I'm really excited to launch a group, very happy with the fact that we have a high school advisory group, but I also know, as I've said to many of you before, our middle school students in some ways are struggling the most right now, and I want to hear their voices as well in the upcoming months as we head into as we close out this school year. So I do want to thank Mr. Condon for helping to drum up that much interest from our young people. So with that, there's a question, it looks like.
Yep, Ms. Manning. Mary, you're on mute.
I can't believe I do that. I just wondering if you have any thoughts on how you are going to make that selection. That's a real quandary.
I don't know, Miss Manning. I might have to get your advice as a former middle school person, how we're going to do this. I might have to open it up to a few more seats or figure out how to rotate people through in some way. The students themselves filled out, right? This is them. They had to fill out an application. this wasn't, a teacher nominating them necessarily. So
Yeah.
we want to honor that interest in
Yeah,
getting
no, that's
involved.
great.
So I'll come to you with, I hope you have some
Yeah, that's
ideas.
okay.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll keep us moving on the agenda. I don't know if Al was here. Manny, did you want to say something about that?
Yes, I was unable to join us this evening as she did have a family obligation. She did share with me her student report, which I'm happy to report out this evening. So the Student Advisory Council is pleased to share with the school committee that we have drastically increased our membership. This does not include by the exact number, so hopefully at the next meeting we can get an update about exactly how many students have joined since the last meeting. They have had to push back their retreat just due to some challenges related to scheduling. But they are still planning for a mid-February retreat to help solidify plans for the remaining time as a council in one of the campaigns that they're hoping to complete this year. Additionally, they've made a request, which I guess I'm doing on their behalf this evening. Following their retreat, they would love to meet with the superintendent, the mayor, and members of the school committee to determine the following actions or determine actions to make progress towards their goals around restorative justice and student rights in the district. And they would like our assistance with scheduling a time to connect with the Student Advisory Council to that end. And then additionally, they also wanted to share with us that they are currently in the process of gathering student feedback within their weekly meetings about some of the key issues that students believe that they are facing, and they're doing so in the form of Google Forms, which they're primarily promoting via social media, and they are hoping to be able to report back to this body about what is happening with students, not just at the high school, but across the district. And that is the conclusion of their report.
Thanks, Mr. Cruz. I will keep us moving on the agenda, and I don't think we have any old business, so I'm going to move us ahead to new business. First action item on the agenda is a deliberation and vote on the curriculum subcommittee's recommendation to approve the proposed revisions to the Salem High School 22-23 program of studies. I would entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Motion is made by Dr. Pangalo. Was there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Cornell. Any further comments or questions? I know we just touched upon this and really grateful for all the work of the curriculum subcommittee and the dialogue had there as well. Seeing none, all those in favor, Ms. Manning,
Yes.
Ms. Fleming,
Yes.
Dr. Pangalo,
Yes.
Ms. Cornell,
Yes.
Mr. Cruz,
Yes.
Mayor Driscoll, yes. 6 members voting, 6 in the affirmative, the matter carries. Thank you all for your work on that effort. And next item would be the deliberation and vote on the curriculum subcommittee's recommendation to approve declaration of outdated curriculum materials, resources, and equipment as surplus property. I'd entertain a motion. Motion made by Ms. Manning. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Seconded by Dr. Pangalo. Under discussion, could somebody provide just a quick overview of what this entails?
Sure. So similar to what we voted on a few months ago, I think, the schools have identified a number of items that are ready for disposal, a number of books that are in such shape that they can't even be donated, some carts and other IT devices that are no longer really useful and in usable condition, and they just need to be disposed of at this point. So.
Got it. Any other questions or comments on this? Seeing none, I'll make, we've already made a motion and seconded. I'll call for all those in favor of the deliberation and vote on the recommendation to approve declaration of outdated curriculum materials so they can be disposed of. All those in favor, Ms. Manning,
Yes.
Mr. Fleming,
Yes.
Dr. Pangalo,
Yes.
Ms. Cornell,
Yes.
Mr. Cruz,
Yes.
Mayor Driscoll, yes. 6 members voting, 6 in the affirmative. The matter carries. Next item we have is deliberation and vote on a number of trips. The Collins Middle School grade aid trip to New York City, May 19th and through May 20th. I'd entertain a motion at this time. Motion made by Mr. Fleming. Is there a second? Seconded by Dr. Pangalo. Under discussion, anything in particular, Mr. Condon, you want us to know about this trip?
Yeah, it's a fabulous, fast-paced 2-day trip. We've had it's been the same trip since 2019. We didn't get to go on 2020 and 2021. We were a little slower than normally. Usually we set it up in the summer. This year's being different. We also wanted to gauge interest, but it's a 2-day trip, hitting all the educational locations of New York, of Ellis Island, Statue of Liberty, the 9/11 Memorial, the World Trade new observation deck, which was fabulous. The first time I got to see it. Central Park Zoo, and a little time in Times Square, along with our lunch before we leave at the Hard Rock Cafe, which is still fabulous. And it's a great rite of passage. We've started fundraising. We have not, we don't want kids to not be able to attend because of monetary situation. We started fundraising options that will come after this vote, and we're excited. We wanted to gauge interest coming out of COVID. Things are different. We have over 100 students that want to go, and we have plenty of staff and families that want to chaperone. So we'll have a 10-to-1 ratio on the trip, and it's a great time. And as a Salem person, I remember going in middle school. Those trips are in my head for the life of me. So it's a great experience for our 8th graders.
Great, thank you, Mr. Condon. Thanks for the extra effort putting them together. It does mean a lot to our students to be able to do this. Let's hope COVID cooperates with us this year and gives them this opportunity. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Condon, Dr. Pangalo?
Yeah, this schedule looks exhausting. So
It is. It is. The idea is, it's nonstop. You have the cruise at night, and we try to tell kids you should probably get some sleep in your room, because then the next.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of sleeping on 95 traffic on a Friday afternoon.
That makes sense if you're on a bus. My question was around the policy on students who can't go due to violating some of these prohibitions. Forget what around the eligibility. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the right word. But if they haven't had suspensions, disciplinary actions, that sort of thing. I was wondering how many students have been excluded due to those reasons in the past, and if you anticipate that being an issue this year, given some of the, the social emotional issues we've been finding with COVID.
Yeah. There's always been a few. I don't have the number, Dr. Pangalo. There have been students that have been excluded in the past, due to some violations of the contract. We do try to use it as motivation if there may be a past mistake from now as we sign up to kind of work with the student and set goals, just like we would with the basketball team or the band or whatever their carrot is, lack of a better word. But we haven't right now. There's no scholars out of the 100 that are signed up that are in that realm.
Great. Yeah, and I think that the fundraising around it is excellent to really make this as accessible as possible. The only other thing I was wondering, of course, I'm thinking about COVID stuff. I think that, New York City has lots of mandates as well, which will certainly be helpful. But I was wondering if, just similar to other field trips we've had, having some testing around it, particularly given that we're having an overnight situation. So if we could do testing before and after, I think that was probably a good idea.
Yeah, the person who's done a lot of the groundwork is Mr. Ben Chertok, who the band, CMS band, that's what's here. He's done a lot of the overnight trips with the high school and the high school's marching band. And so we, along with Chelsea being in our school, being able to set that up the same way that all those other overnight trips have. So yeah, we've done that. And we also have a call into New England coach, our tour guide, and who kind of runs the trip out, you know, our kind of requirements, but then what are the New York City requirements, and if they, you know, religious exemptions and such. So we have to, that email went back and forth this week, so we'll know by the end of the week. They're looking into that. And also on the fundraising, we have 10 families that have offered to sponsor people. So we also have that opportunity too. So that's been very nice from Colin's families to help out.
Excellent. All right, thank you very much.
Any other questions or concerns? Ms. Manning?
Yeah, I should know, but I don't. How many eighth graders do you have roughly?
220.
Okay, so do you have like a minimum that if you don't get a certain number to go, that you don't go?
Yeah, great question. We always say it's 55. So right now we're 2 bus fulls. We have 2 filled up. We're working on the 3rd. So we're hoping to get around 160 kids to get 3 buses. If we don't, we have enough right now where we think with a few more kids that we'll be able to have the 3rd bus anyways. And so we'll be able to accommodate the students. It's not like we're not going to cut it off at the 2nd bus. We're going to be able to have that 3rd bus right now.
But would you go with half the kids? Or less
For
than
the
half
3rd
the
bus,
kids?
for the 3rd bus right now, yes.
Okay.
We could
What
go.
and what are the fundraising? I mean, the days of like lugging around the boxes of 24 packs of M&Ms are gone. So,
Yeah, you're
you
100.
know, and so there's a car wash, but like, what else do you have in mind for fundraising?
Yeah, so the first one, and we're gonna do is a popcorn fundraiser, and it's all online, and it's like a 4-day blitz, Mary. So we give the students the information, and then it's a 4-day blitz, and what they hope is, you know, using social media through their families or their own methods, they can raise money, and the popcorn company also delivers it straight to the family. So it doesn't get sent to Collins and then have to deliver. Once they put in the order, it gets delivered. So if I bought a box of popcorn from you, it would get delivered to my house. If Chelsea bought it from you, it would get delivered right to Chelsea. And I know the high school band, because again, we're trying to learn from Mr. Chertok and what some of the great things the bands do across the school. They raised $4,000 in 4 days. So we're hoping to be able to match that.
Well, that's a good one. I love popcorn.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we'll have to
Okay,
send-
get in touch.
I'll have to send you a link.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else? Questions or comments? We've got a motion that's been made and seconded, so I'll go ahead and call the roll if I don't hear from anybody else. Okay, all those in favor of approval of this wonderful, tiring, experience-filled trip, say aye. Ms. Manning?
Aye.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Dr. Pangallo?
Yes.
Ms. Cornell?
Yes.
Mr. Cruz?
Yes.
Mayor Driscoll, yes. 6 members voting, 6 in the affirmative. The matter carries. Woohoo! Start spreading the news. Finance and operations, budget transfer. I did not notice the budget transfer in our file. If somebody, yep, Mr. Cruz, there's one.
There is one, yes.
Would you like to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion to accept the budget transfer in the amount of, I believe it was $175,000 and
You got it.
yeah, $175,000. Wait, there's 695 there. Apologies, my Adobe is not showing me the right number there, but in the amount prescribed by the administration, which is about $175,695.
You got it. Perfect. Motion made by Mr. Cruz to approve the budget transfer of $175,695 from special ed transportation to in-district special education transportation. Is there a second on that?
Sure.
Seconded by Dr. Pangallo. Any further discussion? We have Ms. Delai here. I think there was a memo with it explaining it. Seeing none, all those in favor? Ms. Manning?
Yes.
Mr. Fleming?
Yes.
Dr. Pangallo?
Yes.
Ms. Cornell?
Yes.
Mr. Cruz?
Yes.
Mayor Driscoll, yes. 6 members voting, 6 in the affirmative, the matter carries. Any subcommittee reports that need to be offered tonight? If not, I'll move us on to school committee concerns and resolutions. Seeing none of those, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Fleming,
Move to adjourn.
is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Cruz. All those in favor, Ms. Manning,
Yes.
Mr. Fleming,
Yes.
Dr. Pangalo,
Yes.
Ms. Cornell,
Yes.
Mr. Cruz,
Yes.
and Mayor Driscoll. Yes, 6 members voting, 6 in the affirmative. We stand adjourned at 8:23 p.m. And I think we only had about 15 PowerPoint slides. So that's a good meeting for you, Steve. All right, everyone. Happy Monday. All right, take care. Thank you.